Now, this happened a couple years ago, so I'm sure y'all already saw it. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? I be tardy to the party. I ain't gonna even hold you. I don't be up on everything at all times and all moments, right? But I wanted to, I saw this video pop up and I was like, oh, I want to watch the whole video because the video I saw, this is the video I saw. Let me show you.
We have people who have not been in a successful relationship going on tour and creating their relationship narrative.
Ace metaphor. Actually, it just entered the video.
That's crazy.
And I think he wants to actually respond on his perspective.
What is the purpose of dating?
If you're being intentional, is to find a husband or wife.
Correct.
Is that the reason why everyone dates?
If someone is dating for sex, us as people with a platform should be promoting what is going to benefit society, not what is going to confuse society.
When the last time you've been actively dating multiple people?
Dating is principle based. It doesn't matter if it's 2023 or 1903. Love does not change because God is love.
But to say how things should work for all people and dismiss everyone else is irresponsible.
Hey, calm down, though, bro, because you're getting a little too much bass in your voice. Living this as a husband and a
Your
father,
truth,
which is successful for.
All right, so I was like, I saw the video, it just popped up. I was like, you know what? I want to watch that video. I want to see what was said because I think when I looked it up, it was saying like Tony Gaskins destroys Ace metaphor and all of that shit. And I listened to that clip right there, and I was like, I'm not hearing that in that clip. So maybe I missed something, right? So I found the video. Let's watch it, shall we?
You never know who's watching the show. And it's actually interesting here that I actually have on here the brother Ace metaphor actually just entered
the chat.
It just entered the video.
That's crazy.
And I think he wants to actually respond on his perspective because the brother is literally in here backstage right now.
Wow.
As I'm taking video calls. Now, if that's okay, do you mind me bringing up Ace? Let him say his point.
Oh my.
Ace. So I'm actually about to bring Ace up here to the forefront. And
what's going on?
Ace, what is popping with you, Ace? We got Ace and TV live in effect. What's up, Ace?
Hey, you know when you got to go to the basement and turn on the studio lights and say, "What's up, man? What's going on?"
Wow.
Hey, yo,
nice to meet you officially.
Everybody knows this setup right here, Ace.
Yes, sir. How y'all been, brothers?
Good, man. Good.
Blessed.
Yeah, glad you joined us, man. Look, glad you got the production set up too. Got that light going.
Yeah, and see the thing about it is, Ace, I'm actually it's interesting that you came up here. Shout out for you being on the Harley initiated video right now. Obviously, you know, Tony has made the way he feels and his stance clear about making sure that people are able to get the best guidance possible from the coaches and the experts in the space. And your platform actually was one that was mentioned. So what's your take and what's your perspective on what was stated?
So first, did you hear what was stated?
Yeah. I'll rewatched it. You know, everybody, internet is funny. They tag you real fast. So here's the thing. I respectfully disagree with my brother there. And the reason why I disagree is because there are all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life. While I understand your perspective as a married man, brother, and this is also tagged along to the Instagram post that you guys made a couple weeks ago. While I do understand your perspective, there are so many people right now struggling with dating, getting in and out of situationships, relationships, getting their heart broken. And even then I can say to you, brother, that maybe you're out of touch there. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that I bring on my panel that have walked and touched all different parts of life. This woman may be able to speak to this particular experience. This man may be able to speak to that particular experience. And that might reach somebody in that audience a little bit differently than you can. It doesn't mean that it's better, worse, or indifferent. It just means there are different perspectives. To think that all human beings are monolithic, that our walks of life all take the same course and the same path, and that there's one set of advice to give to all different people, to me seems out of touch. And it disqualifies a lot of people's personal experiences. One of the things I want to correct real quick.
So far, what Ace is saying to me makes 1,000%. It makes sense, right? I mean, he's like, yeah, there are people that just have different perspectives. They have different approaches to dating, and they're going through stuff. And so, like, he's like, you have a perspective, but so do I. Like, that's what I'm getting. What he's setting up right now, right? Super easy.
That I heard that was spoken. Now that we know the name is on there, like, we do have married people on our panel. That was the most confusing part about the whole thing. There are married people and there are actual relationship coaches and professionals that we bring. We have had therapists. We have had life coaches. We have had mentors. We've had people that are actively in the community be regular parts of our discussions. And so I just felt like it was a little bit of misinformation, and it comes from not actually, observing what we got going on. But I
observe what you have going on. But let me ask you this. What is the purpose of dating?
It depends on who you asking. My purpose, if you ask me specifically,
in the scope of society, in the scope of family, what is the purpose of dating?
See, that's a dumb question. There is no purpose of dating. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once again, Ace is right. Depends on who you're asking. Some people don't believe in marriage. Not everybody thinks that we're going to start a family. Some people look, this is one thing I know for sure. There's one thing about dating that I know for sure, without a doubt. Dating is a way for you to get to know another person. That's the number one function of dating. Wherever it goes, right? If you're dating and you're hoping that this is the person that you're going to be with or whatever the case may be, fine. But the only way you're going to get there is by learning who that person is. And the only way you're going to do that is if you spend time with them, if you speak to them and you spend time with them, right? A date is just that. That's all it is, right? So dating isn't biblical. Dating has nothing to do with religion. It has zero to do with religion, right? Tony's trying to make it into this big, this humongous thing where it's like, nah, bro, like some people just date for fun. Some people date because they just want to have a new experience. Some people date because, you know, they want a husband. Some people are dating because they want to have kids. Some people are dating, like, it depends. Like, is a 16-year-old dating for the same reason that a 36-year-old is dating? Probably not. Is a 60-year-old dating for the same reason a 45-year-old is dating? Probably not. Right? Is a 22-year-old dating thinking, oh, I want to marry this person? They're just dating. There are people who date and they know, they're like, I don't care what happens. I'm not about to marry anybody right now. Like, I have no, like, marriage is not on in the stars for me, right? There are some people that are like, yeah, a family is never going to happen. I'm never having kids. No matter what happens, I'm not having kids, right? That's just what it is. Different strokes for different folks. And it doesn't matter if you want to be married or not. The way you approach dating should be relatively the same. It should be about getting to know the person. Like, what are we talking about here? Going on a date should be about getting to know the person. At the end of it all, at the end of the day, that's what a date should be about. Just to boil it down and simplify it. But I know Tony is asking, you know, because Tony is a fucking, you know, pseudo-religious guy or whatever the fuck. So he always got some, like, bigger shit to say. But it's like, Tony is a fucking nut, man. He trying to be on this, like, what does God say? Like, you ain't coming at people from this, like, high horse stance, bro. Like, you're not that guy. Like, no, like, this is me. This is my observation. I don't know either one of these brothers. I don't have a problem with Ace metaphor at all. To be honest with you, I can say I'm not a fan of his personally. I do find myself agreeing with some of the stuff he's saying. I just think we have fundamental differences. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just have, like, a different mindset to the dynamics between men and women, right? Like, I'm sure. But I don't feel like Ace, just based on the limited knowledge that I have of him, I don't feel like he's harmful at all. Like, even like as a married man, I don't feel like Ace is, like, giving people bad dating advice or whatever. Like, not like egregious. No, I disagree with some of the stuff he says. I disagree with some of his takes. I disagree with some of his antics. You know what I'm saying? I disagree with some of the people he platforms and all of that stuff. But I don't think that he's, like, saying things that are like, that's just fucking terror. You're just leading people down a terrible path. Like, I don't feel like that about Ace. I feel like I think he's saying, like, I don't think he goes deep enough most of the time, to be honest with you. But you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't think any of the things that I've heard him say was too far off from things that I agree with. And or a lot of the stuff I wholeheartedly agree with. I'm like, yep, I agree with everything he just said right there. Right? Tony, on the other hand, completely different story, because he is religious and he tries to root everything in that. So when you're talking to a man or a person that's not religious, and it doesn't matter if the person is religious or not, there are people who believe in God that they can separate church from state, right? Quote unquote, right? So to speak. They can separate. They're like, yeah, they ain't got nothing to do with God right now. Like, I'm just dating, you know, whatever. There are people that are spiritual and maybe not so much religious, right? So you always trying to tie everything back to your religion. It doesn't fly in these spaces, fam. It doesn't fly in these spaces. It's just what you believe.
For some people, for a large percentage of the people, the scope of dating, if you're being intentional, is to find a husband or wife.
Correct. So,
but let me ask you this question, a follow-up question. Is that the reason why everyone dates?
Is that the reason
why everybody dates? Is that the reason?
But what I'm saying is we shouldn't promote what the devil doing. We shouldn't promote what is disadvantageous.
Nope. We're not gonna do that. See what I'm saying? Ace asked that man a straight up question and he deflected. I know deflection when I see deflection. I do this every day. Tony deflected. Ace was right again. That's two questions Tony deflected from, and he's doing this hiding behind religion. Ace is not your protege. Ace is not like super Christian guy. Ace is like, yo, this is what he just said it perfectly. He was like, is everybody dating with the same intentions? The easy answer is no. So once you say that, then the argument is over. Whatever Ace is doing makes sense. And y'all go your separate ways. But Tony is fucking being a hater, clearly.
So if someone is dating for sex, if someone is dating for fun, us as people with a platform should be promoting what is going to benefit society, not what is going to confuse society. So Albert Einstein said you cannot solve a problem from the same level it was created. So having people who are dating, talking to people who are dating, someone who's dating can't help someone who's dating, because the goal of dating is marriage. So a married person can tell someone who is dating, this is what you need to look out for while you're dating. This is what you need to check off. This is what you need.
When the last time you've been actively dating multiple people? When the last time you've actively been dating? Like not your wife, but you've been in a dating market.
This is what you have to understand.
No, so it's the question. You asked me a very direct question. I gave you an answer.
I'm answering you. I'm answering you. Dating.
That's three questions in a row. Ace has asked Tony, and Tony has deflected. Three solid, makes a lot of sense questions, right? Now, I get asked that too. When I start talking about dating, people will be like, when was the last time you dated? And I'll be like, I haven't dated in 17 years. Granted. And I've given a similar response to what Tony is about to say. But that doesn't, like, I hear the argument of like, you don't understand what it's like to date now. Fair enough. Cool. Maybe I don't, right? I get that, but I also understand, to Tony's point, there are some things that they just are the way that they are. They like, there's some things you can't change about the concept of dating, right? They're constant. Maybe the avenues in which you date might be a little different, but the purposes, right? People either were dating for marriage, dating for fun, dating for play, I mean, well, there's the same shit, right? It was just, how do you date? How do you approach a date? How much money to spend? That's changed. The type of place you go, maybe that's changed, things of that nature. But the purpose and, the way you handle yourself on a date is going to be the same. I'm going to show up for a date now in 2025 the same way I showed up for a date in 2015 or in 2005. I'm going to show up the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to show up authentically myself. I'm not going to put on a front. I'm going to try to, entertain a woman that I'm with. I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be engaged. I'm going to have a good conversation. I'm going to show care. I'm going to show concern. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be intentional. That's the way that I dated. Don't mean I was trying to marry all these women, but that's what happens when you're on a date, I would think.
Is principle based. It doesn't matter if it's 2023 or 1903. A relationship is based on principles, not the culture, not the trend, not the fad. Love does not change. Love stays the same because God is love and God does not change. Love is not contingent upon strip clubs and pornography and Instagram and social media. So the same way that my wife and I dated is the same way that people who will have a healthy marriage date today.
That's not what Ace is saying, though. He ain't talking about none of that stuff. That's a straw man argument. Ace ain't said nothing about corn, IG, OF, nothing. He is literally just talking about dating. And Tony is doing this, mightier than thou. He's taking that approach, like trying to sun Ace. This is so interesting to see because it's so evident that Tony is a hater and he's wrong. But it was so weird reading the comments on these other videos. Like, they was like, oh, Tony got a point. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I must have went. I'm watching this. I'm like, that must have been like a Christian page or something like that. Like, that's fucking crazy. Nothing he's saying is making sense. It has nothing to do with anything that Ace is talking about.
But what you're trying to say is that we should date differently today because it's 2023. And that's not true, because a relationship is based on principles. So
now,
what
is that, before you go forward, let me say this. I want to be very clear here. Specifically, I said people are not monolithic. Right now, you're bringing in God, devil, the Bible, and those are your particular principles. And I respect that, brother. I grew up religious too. I respect what you're saying. Dating, the main purpose of dating, it should be to find a mate. People shouldn't have sex before marriage. From the biblical perspective, I understand your perspective, brother, but I'm not going to dismiss your perspective simply because it doesn't align with mine or this person's or that person. I think the particular problem isn't me saying that your take is wrong. I respect it. I enjoy listening to your content. But to say how things should work for all people and dismiss everyone else that doesn't speak your particular alignment, to me, is irresponsible. And the reason I say that is because there are all sorts of people doing all sorts of things, loving all sorts of ways. And if you think that your way is the only way that works, brother, I commend you. I'm just saying there are people from all walks of life that need to hear other perspectives, either to solidify theirs or make them curious about another way that could work better for them. Brother, the one thing you said that was really interesting to me.
You're telling me who you're working for.
You said what?
You're telling me who you're working for.
And that's why a lot of people.
Corny. You're telling me who you're working for. What the fuck are you talking about? Nigga, I don't give a fuck about no devil, demon. I don't believe in none of that shit. Did you not just hear this man saying? Here's what I'm saying. Ace is having a rational, logical discussion with the dude who is not being rational or logical. You can be spiritual and logical. That is true. But he's hiding behind that right now. He's grandstanding. Tony is clearly grandstanding and his ego is hurt. Clearly. Like this is like this is such a funny discussion because he like everything that Ace is saying, I hate to say it, he is making perfect sense. Not I hate to say it, but he is making perfect sense. I say that I think because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of either one of these dudes. I'm not a big fan of either one of these dudes personally. Right. But I'm being objective. Hey, like I said, I saw the clip and I was like, that don't sound right. Now I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. Like everything that Ace is saying makes perfect fucking sense. Without a doubt. Tony is clearly out of his league, doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not used to debating. That's not his thing. He's used to having a microphone on and talking to a camera, or he's used to being in an environment where nobody is actually going to go against what he's saying and challenge him. Because once he's challenged, he melts away. He doesn't have the stamina for it, the mental fortitude, and the bandwidth for it at all.
Look,
but meaning you
tell when you say that, you go when you and what you're saying,
you're working to provide a platform for all of the voices, for all the different types of people, because people are not a monolith. So right. the voices that you are giving a platform to have no success if they are not in a healthy relationship.
That didn't mean nothing. That was a word salad. What?
I just told you that there are people on our panel that are married.
Exactly. That's not what's being posted.
Hey, I got a quick question here, Ace, because just to see if there's even any common ground, do you feel like there are some people who should not be putting out relationship content? Do you also feel like there is a group of people who you would deem unqualified to speak on these topics?
Personally?
Yes.
Man, it's real interesting. I'm so busy with my play, brother, that I don't really look across the aisle. There are content creators that I don't particularly vibe with. I don't like their rhetoric. I don't like the way they speak to women in general.
Well, I'm not being specific about any one person. I just mean like, do you more so? Because obviously Tony pretty much stands on, if you're not married, like you should not necessarily be putting out this work.
I think that's probably, respectfully, man, I think that is
or you just have to frame the conversation. You have to frame the conversation. You have to say, this is not relationship advice. This is my dating experience.
Brother, I don't really think that. To your point.
He trying to tone police. He trying to police what Ace is doing. This shit is hilarious. Like he wants Ace out of his lane. I think that Ace is like, this is weird. It's just like some dick swinging shit. It's funny. But as a married man, there's a bunch of stuff that I know that I understand better about relationships than most people do that haven't been in relationships as long as I have. But there are if you were to talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist about relationships, they don't have to be married. And they can give you a lot of valuable information because it's not the act of being married that's unique. That's not unique. That's not the unique part about the relationship. That's not the thing you need to work on. How do you work on marriage? Marriage is an institution. It's not a thing to work on, right? All you have to do is sign white man paperwork and you marry. That's it. You don't have nothing to work on in a marriage. It's the relationship part. And the relationship part, man, everybody has been in a fucking relationship. Ace has been in a ton of relationships, I'm sure. He's like 30-something years old. I'm sure he's been in several relationships in his lifetime, right? You can go to somebody, like I said, you can go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, never been married, not even never been in a relationship, and they can teach you how to communicate, because communication is key in a relationship. Just because they don't know every little intricate inner working of a relationship doesn't mean they don't know how to build a strong foundation of a relationship, because there's certain tenets about romantic relationships that translate across all of humanity, and one of them being communication, right? So who better to teach you that than a psychologist or a psychiatrist, married or not? Married or not, they would be able to do that. Like Tony doesn't know he doesn't know more about marriage than he doesn't know more about relationships than a psychologist knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like if you go to your psychologist and you talk to them, they would, when you tell them what's going on with you, what you're thinking and what you're feeling, they would be able to actually give you tools to help you through that. Tony can't do that shit. He don't know nothing about it. He gonna tell you to pray on it.
And to answer the question before, do I feel like that there are people that are not qualified to give general advice or relationship advice to a large percentage of the population? Absolutely. I think that there's people that are not qualified to my metrics. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with somebody getting up here and saying, this is why I think this or I think that. But what I am saying is, for us to not acknowledge the diversity in people and thought processes and ways in which relationships and love can work for many different people, that to me is hard to wrap my head around. That's the thing that I want to say. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. It sounds elitist. It sounds like, you know what I'm saying? And then when you said something, Tony, respectfully, when you said you're working for the other side, brother, that's why a lot of people struggle. Because I think you're implying that the other side is the devil, right? Is that what you're implying?
Meaning you're working for the other side of providing confusion. Because if you have 6 voices on the stage and there's 6 different messages,
yeah, that's what he meant, but he won't stand on business. Ace clocked him. Once again, he didn't answer his question. Very vague, very dumb response. Like, yeah, man, this couldn't have been me. I couldn't have been Ace. I'd have flipped over the table. Ace is very respectful so far. Like, I'm telling you, I'm actually shocked in this exchange. I am. I'm shocked to see how well Ace is handling himself. And I'm sure some people aren't, because you guys know Ace. I don't know shit about Ace. Like I said, I'm not a big consumer of either one of these people's content. I have seen Ace more because of tonight's conversation, because I think that platform, yeah, I come across it more. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked. Like, this is like a landslide. This is like easy work for Ace. He's just like, and he's not even trying. He's just being honest. Like, all his responses are honest. He's not trying to trap Tony. He's not trying to like make Tony look like a dummy. He's like going out of his way to not do that stuff. And Tony is doing the opposite and failing at it miserably.
People leave more confused than they came. And if the people who we are seeing by the millions are not saying anything worthwhile, but it's a meaningless back and forth conversation that does not bring a solution, that does not help us build families, that does not help us better raise children, that does not help us climb the ladder as a people, as a group who are struggling economically, struggling relationally, struggling in every way. When we provide conversations that only bring confusion and don't bring clarity,
it don't seem like
why you working
it
for
don't seem, it don't seem like it really don't seem like, in my opinion, you actually pay much attention to what we got going on over here, brother. And that's respectfully. I'm respectfully saying. I'm respectfully saying, when you can use that.
Stop saying respectfully. It ain't respect.
Adjectives you want to use, and then empty messages. You can use all these adjectives, but just because you're making these blanket statements, that's why I said it's dangerous. It's dangerous when you're making blanket statements without having no factual information.
Statement. It's not a.
It is a blanket statement. You're making blatant statements, and you're putting people's names in it. You're putting people's names in it.
I'm living this as a husband and a
your
father,
truth,
which is successful for you and for our community. It's not just for me. Principles are principles. So,
right, but your principle, you're not the only person with principles.
You're promoting casual sex. You're promoting hookup culture. And then you say, let me ask you this. You having a conversation? You watching me online. You say you appreciate my message. Why haven't you called me to your conversation?
You know what?
Bingo. We see what it is. We see exactly what it is. Tony was salty that he wasn't on the platform. Wow. All of this back and forth because he wasn't on the platform. You gotta be fucking kidding. You niggas is some haters, bro. Y'all, you trying to mess with this man bag. You trying to poke holes in his content for what?
Why he doing all that? Look, why he doing all that? Now listen, he doing all that.
You say you bringing all the voices. You say you bringing all.
Whoa. You doing all that? You doing all that?
How you not gonna call somebody who got 3.5 million people online and have been in the trenches since 2007, but you bringing all the sides? You ain't bringing all the sides. You ain't bringing all the sides. You bringing the side that you want to bring, and then you trying to take me to task for my words, and you trying to hold me for every word, but you didn't catch that you just call what you doing a play. I call what I do purpose.
What do you? I don't know what you mean about a plate.
You just said I'm so focused on my play.
So my plate, PLATE, plate. This is the last. I messaged you.
Look at him, thinking he got him. Look at his face. He thinking he got him on some gotcha shit. You talking about your play? Who cares slang, nigga? We black. What you talking about? That's my purpose. That's your play. Shut the fuck up. I knew I didn't like this. I'm sorry. The more I watch this, the more I dislike this dude, Tony. He is. Ugh.
You March 10th. Yo, would love to feature you on my podcast. We're shooting April 28th, 29th. Any interest? And then it was like an automatic reply that said you don't receive messages, so I didn't attempt that way again. Brother, like, respect.
Yeah, bro, I got a website, man. You know how to reach me. I got a website.
Man, I'm 35, brother. We do things a little differently.
I'm 39, bro. Don't act like you at another generation.
So here's the thing. It sounds like we might be seeing TG on the next
Tonight conversation.
That's what it sounds like.
Nah. Look at Ace ain't laughing at that. Ace like, nah, he burned that bridge. He a weirdo.
Ace, by the way, that's enough. That's enough for the stage. Just him and Ace.
You know you can't put this. Ace, you know you can't put a brother like this on the stage with anybody that's even halfway single. Now here's the thing. Here's what I want to ask about this.
Listen, I don't mind being single people. What I'm saying is frame the conversation. We can't let it go out as relationship advice. This is a single experience, or this is a hookup experience, or this is I'm divorced and I'm telling you what went wrong in my marriage. But this is going out to the millions as relationship advice. And so what I'm saying is, if you send the message of a single man who is having sex with women and dating, if you send that message viral, give the equal pressure and push of the therapist that you say you have on there, or the married person that you say you have on there who is happy and healthy, and do that split test of A and B so that it balances the conversation. Anytime I see something from tonight's conversation, it's on the same side of the line, and it is very confusing. I don't know what I just heard, what the purpose of it was. It's a man arguing at a woman arguing at a man, and there's no solution, there's no takeaway. It's all sensationalism, and one thing that I know is happening is money is being made, but there's no progress being made.
Pocket watching. We done clocked the pocket watching. He done brought up this man bag. Yep. Got him. Wow. This is a crash out. Like, if this was happening on my live, I'd just be letting them talk, crash out.
And then a lot of times, if it's progress, we're gonna feel it. And so my thing is, I'm not with the confusion and the games. I'm very direct in what I say. I'm very real about what I stand on.
No, you're not.
At this stage in our life, especially in the black race, we need results.
Lying.
We need solutions. We need progression. We need,
but
we need healthy families.
I want to respond to that because again,
are you married?
No, I'm not. Again,
so how
hey brother, y'all done let you get your long little monologues out, and I just want to respond. What I'm saying to you is, I wish you would say I more when you speak. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is the path. Because my only issue with what you're saying is you're not including that, brother. If that works for you, great. But you have to understand the people that come ask questions at our shows, they're asking about them having casual sex. They're asking about this heartbreak that they didn't experience. They're asking about how do they find themselves again, how to have self-forgiveness, how to do this, that, and other. They're asking about a host of different things, brother. And sometimes I'm the most qualified person to speak to their experience or to give them advice on it. Sometimes it's Kitty. Sometimes it's Trip, the person you said, oddly, never been that guy, but I've known Trip since we were kids, and he's always been that guy. My point I'm trying to make is, it would probably benefit to do a little bit more homework here. You know what I'm saying? And that's me being respectful. And then when you speak to every clip that you've seen, every 60-second clip that you've seen may speak more about your algorithm than you think. Brother, we post a host of different clips. If you go down our page right now, you'll see 4 or 5 clips on forgiveness. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on motherhood. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on us progressing as Black people in this country. And my point is, even further, if you went to actually watch the episodes, you'll get a further context. Brother, I can't speak for your algorithm, brother. Yes, we post a host of different.
Let me not on my algorithm. I'm just correct. You're not on my algorithm.
Let me finish. I'll let you finish your monologues.
I just want you to put out false things because we do.
How you seeing it? If it ain't on your your algorithm, then how you seeing it? If it ain't on your FYP, how you seeing it then, right? Fine. Somebody sent it to you, whatever. So that means it's even weirder because it's not even like you're coming across it organically.
Like you are?
I'm just letting you know that it's not from my algorithm.
Right. So if you haven't, so what I'm saying is, if you haven't properly, this is my thing. And I respect your work, and I would love to have you on the panel. I think even coming to a show, you would see how different of an experience than what you think it actually is. How it would be. But what I would say is this: whether it's your algorithm or not, whether it's people sending it to you or not, yes, we post we host and field a whole bunch of different questions from people from different walks of life and experiences. And so, yes, one question may be quote unquote sensationalized, but that was a real question from an audience member. This question might be like, man, how do I find my confidence again after postpartum depression? And that's a clip that got just as many viral views. This question might be about somebody having casual sex and being flown out. But this question was about a woman saying, you know what, I feel like a single mother, even though I'm married. What do I do? And that clip got 10, 15 million views too. I can't speak to just a few clips that you've seen. And so when you're using that to frame, hold on, excuse me. When you're using that to frame and say,
hey, calm down, though, bro, because you're getting a little too much bass in your voice. So
weird, more weird. This nigga. Y'all watch seriously. Y'all watch this and how did I know this? Like I said, this was 2 years. This was a year and some change ago. You watched this and y'all walked away thinking like, yeah, Tony he making sense. Like, hey, he checked. Like, what? Childish. Everything he's doing and saying is childish. Nothing he said has made sense thus far. I swear to God.
Mr. Gaskins. Mr. Gaskins. Mr. Gaskins, first of all, here's the thing. Anybody has watched my videos know I talk that way. Brother, when you say some stuff like that, you know what you're saying, dog. What I'm saying is you got on the platform and you're spreading misinformation. You say don't spread misinformation about an algorithm, but you got on this platform and you've already admitted that you ain't really deep dived in our content and you speaking as if you know what we are doing. And so when you want to take your base.
Listen, I got a question.
That's what he's doing.
1 second.
Hey, so let me ask you this question because we got the super chats coming in. And I think this is a question that, the chat really wants to know. And shout out to Beautified by Lorraine. She says, if the goal is marriage, how can someone give relationship advice that leads to a successful marriage if they are not married?
So the answer to the question is, if that person's individual goal is marriage. I want to first say that. If that person's individual goal is marriage.
That's the thing. As a married man, right? A lot of this stuff is compartmentalized. It's like a step. It's a piece of there is no holistic approach to any of this, really, right? There's a bunch of like little pieces, and everybody's road and path has like it has a different terrain. It has different pitfalls. It has different traps and different cross points for you to cross over and you have to figure out a way to get around it or whatever. It's like a video game, but it's like not the same game for everybody. It's different, right? At times there are things that may have happened in Tony's relationship when he met his wife that has nothing to do with me and my wife's relationship, right? Like it did not happen in that way. People can ask about specific instances, whether they want to be married or not. That's irrelevant. You talking about, hey, I was on a date. When I hear the clips from the show, because I've never watched a full episode of tonight's conversation, but I've watched a good amount of it. I follow them on TikTok and Instagram maybe at this point, but I follow them on TikTok for sure. I've watched several clips, 20, 30 clips, right? Typically, what I see is people go up there and they ask very specific questions. I just saw a video and did a video on a man that was like, yo, me and my ex, we broke up when I was like down and out financially, but now she wanted to get back with me that I'm up again. That is a very specific thing. That has never happened to me. I'm married. Cool. But what advice do I give this man? Just because I'm married doesn't mean I have the tools to help that guy. I don't know what the fuck. I've never dealt with that before. I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a bunch of shit that I've never dealt with a woman lying to me. I've never dealt with a vindictive woman. I've never dealt with a jealous. I've never dealt with that shit. There are a bunch of things that I don't understand, but there are certain things I can speak to that are universal, right? For a successful relationship, like I said, like communication. So I can talk about how to better communicate with somebody. No doubt about it. That's what I like to stick to. That's the solution. But when somebody comes to you with a specific issue, what you gonna tell them, Tony? You been through it all? You've seen it all? Just because you're married? Get the fuck out of here.
That's one thing. And for that being said, there are people, to Tony's point, that have navigated that course and can give better insight if the goal is to be married. And you can look at their track history. This is why we have married people on our panel.
Okay.
But not everybody's goal in dating is marriage. Brothers, for every one person that's dating to try to find marriage, there's 3 or 4 people dating just to find themselves. There's 4 or 5 people dating in an experimental way. There's 6 or 7 people dating just to distract themselves from a heartbreak. So not everybody that's out here dating is dating to be married. And some people are dating just for fun. They're dating from a recreational sense. We get up here on this podcast say, oh, in a perfect world, everybody would be dating for marriage. But this world ain't perfect. Most of your listeners have been led on or misled or time has been wasted on somebody they thought was intentionally dating, but that person was just recreational or experimental dating. Yep. So my point is, yes, if the goal is marriage and two people link and both of their goals are united as marriage, yes, a spiritual path for that is and spiritual advice is a good place to start. Somebody like Tony would be a great place to start. But getting to a person and finding a person and avoiding people that are not there to get you there is also a path too. And there are people that have been in this dating situation so long that they know how to recognize red flags a little bit better than people that haven't. And so those people have a voice too. And those people reach people too. So for us to act like we live in this idealistic world where everything is how it should be, and we're not dealing with a whole bunch of BS in this dating situation, I just think is out of touch for real.
Now, let me say this because
that's it. That's real. That's real spit, real facts. I'm telling you, I am wholeheartedly shocked. I'm really shocked at how terrible Tony Gaskins is. And I don't like I said, I am not a fan of Tony Gaskins. I'm really not. I wasn't before watching that clip, because I didn't watch that whole thing. I think I had watched like the first 15 minutes of it. But even like that up until that point, that was so bad. That was so terrible. Like, like everything Ace was saying, everything he said made sense. Like it was because he didn't have an ulterior motive. You can tell he wasn't there to attack Tony. He wasn't there to tear him down. He was like, bro, it's enough. There's enough meat on the bone for all of us. Like, you don't gotta like tell people don't listen to me because I'm not married. Like, what the fuck? That's fine. You're married. That's great. You talk to the married folk. I'm talking to the people that's just dating, trying to figure this shit out. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I did not date women with the intentions of getting married. Though I always wanted to be married. There was not a day in my life that I didn't that I was going to be married. I'm talking about high school, like junior high school. I could like my earliest memories of marriage. I was in probably junior high school, maybe even elementary. As a matter of fact, I've always thought about being married. Like I'm not even like, it wasn't even like a dream. It wasn't like, oh, one day I'm going to be married. It wasn't even like that. It was just like it was going to happen. Like I was like, yeah, I'm going to get married. I'm going to get a wife. I'm going to have kids. Like, it just was like a part of my life. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't date 99% of the women with that in mind. I just dated them. She was cute. I said, let's go out. She said, let's go out. I said, cool. Where you want to go? She said, let's go to PF Chang. We hooked up at PF Chang and we went to a bar. Then we went home. Like, what? And if she was cool, I'll pick up the phone the next day and I'll be like, hey, last night was a good time. Tonight, I was thinking about my friend invited me out to a show. You know, I got a +1. You want to roll? Cool. Go pick her up. We go on a date. It's a +1. I scoop her up. We go on a date. Hey, that was great. Hey, next day I call her up or she hit me up. We texting all day long. Hey, last night was funny. It was great. What you think about? Oh, damn, what's your favorite Eddie Murphy movie? Now we having a conversation, right? Cool. I talked to her. I talked to her the next night. We have a conversation. I talked to her the next day. We have a conversation. Now it's the weekend, right? Hey, I was thinking, man, we should go down there. You ever roll bikes down by the beach? Hey, let's go ride some bikes down by the beach. Then we go ride bikes down by the beach. And that's our third date in 2 weeks or in a week and a half. And next thing you know, we on our 7th date in a month. And next thing you know, we're on our 20th date in 3 months. And the next thing you know, it's 6 months and we're in a committed relationship. And the next thing you see what I'm saying? That's how you got to take it step by step. If y'all want to date, if you are dating with this from this like holistic point, fine. That doesn't mean that everybody that's not dating like that isn't interested in marriage. People just have different approaches. Simple as that. I wish I could talk to the brother Tony. I wish I could have told him how wrong he was. Honestly, I don't want to attack that man. I really don't. I don't know him, but y'all know me. I'm a little bit like Ace. Like how he was getting hot. Y'all know I get a little hot under the collar. I don't like that shit. When people be disingenuous and shit like that, I don't got no time for that. Because that's not my thing. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Right or wrong, it is what it is. Hey, I apologize. I didn't mean that. It is what it is. Ain't no beef. You know what I'm saying? Like, but all that little weird shit he was doing, pocket watching, expose the fact he was mad because he never got invited on the podcast, you know, all of that shit. Telling them to try to sun him all the time, talking about calm down, you got too much air in your chest, too much dip on your chip. All of that shit was weird, bro. We do not need that in this space. We don't need that amongst black men. That ain't productive. You 40-something years old, brother. You ain't y'all got to stop acting tough guy and shit. Like, y'all niggas making millions of dollars, I'm sure. Calm the fuck down.